All right, so I'm Spencer Mize, and this is part one of my project. So I just use it's basically the same logic as lab two, and then I like using test cases, so I just use the stuff from lab 11, and then I connect them to the buttons and the GUI. Here's what it looks like. We can do 3 students, and then let's put in some grades. And then calculate grades gives us all the grades. And then if we do something like this, it'll say that it's wrong. And then if we do this again, calculate grades, and then we can export it, and then it's saved, and I can show you that. If we go into PyCharm, there it is. It shows that it's saved. So yeah, this is part one of my project. Right, so this is part two, and this is my game Night Fight. So let's run this. All right. And so it's a pretty simple game. You just you pick some weapons, axe, sword, spear, dagger, and depending on the max damage that the weapon can deal, uh, that determines if it's the light or heavy attack. And first thing that happens is you run into an orc, and it just kind of goes back and forth each turn. You attack, the orc tries to attack you. So we'll get through this. And his sprite change there. For the knight, the dragon, and the orc, they all have a healthy, hurt, and dead portrait. And so we'll keep going. And you can see orc hits you for 8 damage, and that reflects in our health bar there. And that's the dead orc you saw for a second there until it loops onto the dragon. And yeah, you get into the dragon, you have vanquished the orc. Suddenly a dragon appears, and now we gotta try and fight him. He's pretty strong, so it took quite a bit of tweaking to find what was still balanced. And dang, we are missing a lot here. Yep, there he goes hurt again. And I'm gonna use a potion here to show you what that looks like. Potion goes down to 1, and our health goes up by 25. And you can only do a light, heavy, or potion. You only get 1 action per turn, so it's pretty straightforward and simple. And the knight just got hurt because he's below half. We'll use a potion again. And the dragon, you have slain the dragon, victory is yours. And then you can retry, and that brings you back to the beginning. It kind of resets everything. One of the pieces of feedback I got during my meeting was that my initial idea was a bit too simple. So I got recommended to let the player be able to pick what weapons they choose at the beginning of the adventure, so it's a bit easier. Um, so you can pick, like you saw at the beginning, you can pick through them. And yeah, now we can go to the code. Um, Here we go. Um, I did not work off of anyone else's, but there are 2 things that I didn't know that I needed to look up help for. Uh, as you can see, it's pretty simple. It's just some if statements connected to buttons, and then those connect to the sprites that change, and then it's just the dialogue sentence that goes up for each fight. So let me get to where I can explain the part. Yeah, so I initially had all the turns separated between player and enemy turns, and that button you saw that said retry, that initially was called next. And what that did in the first pass of this was instead of the turns being all at the same time, it would be your turn, and then you would click next, and then it would be the enemy's turn, and then you would click next. But that gave me a lot of errors, so I kind of changed what I had. And because of that, I needed to have a way to cycle in between player and orc or dragon in 1 turn to make it easier. So I found, let's see if I can find it here. Yeah. a queue timer. And what that does is it just makes the code go up like into the combat sentence is what it's called. It makes it go into the combat sentence for just like 1.5 seconds. And then so it says like you hit the orc, you dealt 10 damage, 1.5 seconds. The orc missed, dealt 0 damage. And then that's just and then it restarts like now it's your turn again. So that was really helpful to find because it was much easier than whatever I was trying to do for the next there for a bit. Um, yeah, so that's a new concept I found. And another new concept was, yeah, I have that all here, was working with sprites and pictures and portraits. So uh I had never worked with anything like this before, so I had to watch some YouTube videos and look at some documentation to figure out how it works. Um, so this is everything for updating the sprites based on health, and then where is it? Yeah, the scaling. Initially it was way too zoomed in for the label, so I had to find how to have it fully zoomed out so you could see the entire picture. And um yeah, the challenge I encountered was just kind of not knowing how to set up the flow of combat. I kind of got hung up on that for a while, but I eventually decided on the queue timer and just making turns happen at the same time instead of like cycling through them because that was too complicated. And yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, thank you.